If a judge, I don't think people should get the death penalty under any circumstances.
If someone is shooting at another person, should they be shot at and killed?
If someone's shooting at another person, should they be shot at and killed?
If someone is committing an act of violence and actively, is it within the legal rights of a person to return with lethal?
I like that Tim pulls like a legal process in which there's an entire investigation conducted, a prosecution occurs, and you go to the civil or you go to the criminal court structure, and then the punishment dished out to you is death, is the same as like in the moment shooting someone in self-defense. Like we are not on the same planet. If you think that this is equivalent, you are talking about an entirely different scenario, brother. What the are you talking about?
Just for the sake of clarity, because in the show we're not talking about specifics of someone may or may not be wrongly charged. If you're asking me why I would say something like should be, it's rooted in this. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses of the same overt act or confession in open court. So the issue at hand was when
I like that they left the empty chair on there. Like they didn't shut down that camera. What's happening here? I mean, that's like a production note, but like, what are we doing here? Like, come on, you're like a multi-million-dollar operator. You got like millions of dollars from the Russian government.
When we were talking, and I said, I don't think any of these people committed treason. I don't think anything they've done is worthy of death. I don't agree with the death penalty. The return is, but what if they're levying war against us? And then someone decides their life should be forfeit.
I watched that video, and in fact, I remember that.
Hey, Hassan, I don't know just anything about Sam. Did he have a history in debates, or is he just that guy with the knowledge of both? He loves debating. He's very good at debating, and also on top of that, he is very knowledgeable. This is Sam. Sam loves doing this stuff. Like he truly enjoys this. I think a lot more than I do in terms of like talking to silly people and like unwinding them step by step.
Tim says he doesn't agree with the death penalty. That's fine. And then they played more where you say if you've committed treason, you should get the death penalty. I mean, and the interesting thing is, then I watched, hold on, let me finish. And
do
then,
you want to do a drama circle jerk, or do you want to actually talk about the ideas of the death penalty?
Ooh, he's already getting mad. It's like, dude, we're 10 minutes in. Why are you mad already? Why you have to be mad?
And what should or should not happen?
No, I think I personally am against the death penalty. I think
so let's
you are maybe against the death penalty.
I'm 100% against death penalty.
But what I found fascinating, it was as if you watch that video as it goes further along, and maybe you can release it. I don't know if it's behind a paywall or what. I watched it somewhere, so I know it exists. Maybe it was on Rumble. And if you go along, it's almost like you catch yourself and you realize, like, wait a second, I'm against the death penalty. So, no, you shouldn't get capital punishment. And that's one of the things that I think, like, in terms of, like, that I have always found fascinating about you. And that there was actually a great video by Timba Toast on how you vacillate between different political ideas as a way of like maintaining a certain brand.
What is the brand?
Well, I don't, not exactly sure what you think the brand is, but
here's the challenge. Here's the challenge. You know, if I post a joke on X that is like over the top, for instance, I tweeted Kamala Harris is like Hitler and Stalin times 200, and she's going to start 800 wars. That was actually written about in various liberal outlets as if it was a fact statement. And so I'm sitting here being like, can they not tell? Well, there's Poe's law. I get it. Sometimes they don't. But the issue at hand right now is just semantics. So instead of saying like, well,
dude, we're in the communication business. Like our words are important. Now, listen,
sure.
I'm about to pull out it was a joke defense. Very, very ineffective, I think.
Certainly understand people misinterpreting a tweet. Believe me, I've been there.
I will just say this for the sake of clarity. Right now, regardless of my opinions on law, should the law be that someone would receive the death penalty, then they should receive it. I oppose it.
But it doesn't necessarily, the treason, the punishment for treason is not necessarily the death penalty any more than it is with murder.
All right, so let's just try and...
Why would you ever say, if you're against death penalty...
Once again, misconception I'm trying to get past, so let me explain.
Okay.
In the circumstance where someone has committed a death-worthy trespass, I oppose the death penalty. I would advocate against it. We recently had a big case where there were 2 instances where people were put to death. One guy, the family even said it shouldn't happen. They had cut a deal with the prosecutor. It still happened. And that was, I believe it was, who was that? That was Missouri. And a lot of people who watch my show were quite outraged that a family would say no. But the issue at hand is I don't assert myself over the rest of the country in law, which means if the mechanism of the courts is as such, that's what should happen. I will fight against it. That's the semantic misunderstanding.
Oh,
so
all right.
Let's just put it like this.
Because you were so offended. I mean, the reason why I thought I was here was because you were so offended that I said you were against the death penalty.
You said I was for it.
And I got confused when you said someone should get the death penalty
Under a mechanism of law that I oppose.
Well, you never said those words.
But that was the whole conversation.
No, actually, it wasn't.
Literally was.
We can play it.
But I mean, look, how about we just, instead of going back and forth and saying it was this show where these things were said,
I don't think he understands what opposing a law means. Like, you can't say you oppose the death penalty, but if that's currently the law, then you're on board with it. Like, then it should happen. That means you're not in opposition to the death penalty. I oppose capital punishment, which is why I will always say I oppose capital punishment. I'll even offer coverage to instances where capital punishment is occurring, like specifically the case in Missouri or the one in Texas, where like people with a lot of evidence as to their innocence are still executed by the state. Like, that is what opposition to the death penalty or opposition to capital punishment looks like. Even if someone is guilty, I still oppose capital punishment, for the record. Like, regardless of whether there's enough information, enough evidence readily available of their innocence, I genuinely oppose the death penalty in general. I don't think it's appropriate.
we lay it out on the table. There it is.
Okay, there.
Death penalty should be opposed.
We agree on that.
The government is a failed arbiter of who should live or die. This mechanism doesn't work at an institutional level.
I don't know that anybody is.
It makes it seem like he's opposing the death penalty now, specifically for treason, because he may or may not have, accidentally committed treason in terms of being directly financed and being directly financed by a foreign adversary government.
Let me ask you this, since you bring up Russia.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that you have to put some type of disclaimer because of the whole tenant thing, or no?
No. I never received money from Russia. We never were given any money to create anything. Tenant Media and
It was all laundered through Tenant Media. I mean, obviously you didn't get you weren't getting paid in rubles.
So I can try and I'll keep it real simple. You have sponsors on your show. Did you ever ask who their investors are? Did you?
The sponsors?
Yeah, like a company comes to you and says, "We want to, have you shout us out or something." Do you like look into their financiers? Do you dig through their bank accounts?
I mean, we get it all from media brokers, but they weren't advertising on your show. They were.
No, it was
they were paying you a license deal.
A license fee.
Yeah.
So I licensed to Nat Geo. I never asked them who their investors were.
Who? National Geographic?
Yeah.
National Geographic was taking Tim Pool's videos. There's no way, right? What the What would National Geographic syndicate from like the Tim Pool show?
When I license through like all these other big distributors, someone comes to me, they say, we want a license. It goes to our lawyer comes back, says, here's the agreed upon fee. I say, thank you and have a nice day. And then we move on.
So was it just Ruben who asked who Gerard Depardieu or whatever that guy's name was?
I don't know.
Gerard Depardieu catching strays. French cinematic actor Gerard Depardieu catching a random stray in this conversation, in this debate, is not something that I thought was going to happen. Okay.
What Dave did or anybody else did?
Did you ask about who that guy was?
Absolutely. And you know what's crazy is...
Well, wait a second. Why did you ask about who that guy was?
Wanted to know. Isn't that due diligence?
Yeah, but you just said you don't ask who the investors are.
No, I said, do you? Like, do you dig into all of these things?
I've never actually been approached with anything even remotely like that.
So when I got reached out to like by Discovery and Nat Geo, I said, I'm familiar with what this is. It's
yeah, no. If I mean, I licensed my show to Peacock, and
right, you know what they are.
Well, yeah. I mean, National Geographic is a well-known thing. But if somebody comes in and says like, we're going to give you that kind of money for your programming, I'd be like,
how much money do you make on Majority Report?
Fuck is that?
How much money do you make on Majority Report?
How much do I make from on our revenue from the whole show?
All of it, 100%.
I mean, it's six
Six figures a month
revenue. Yeah.
per month.
Yeah.
Damn.
So why were you?
6 figures. Yeah.
So you're over 100K per month on Majority Report.
I think, well, I mean, some months. I mean, certainly the past couple of months have been really good.
You
Some